this. Kakadosh Boker Or, Masechet Zevachim Daf Yomi Daf Pei Vav Amud Aleph 86A1. We're just going to start on Pei Amud Bet the Mishnah. Right? If you remember, it says Ve'elu imalu yardu. We talked about that there are certain things that if they go up to the mizbeach, they go down. Whether it's going to be basar kodesh kodashim, basar kodashim kalim, whether it's going to be korban haomer, the shtei alechem, lechem hapanim, sherei menachot, and the ketoret. Right now, the Mishnah is going to mention other things which they go up to the mizbeach, right, and they are going to be pushed off. Atzemer shebedashik kvasim, se'ar shebezakan atiyashim. So whether we're talking about the wool and the head of the kvasim, or the hair in the zakan, in the beard of the tiyashim, of the taish. Taish, I don't know, you say it in Hebrew, in English? Ah, there you go. Yeah. Well, how do you say taish in English? The goat? The goat? Goat, how do you say it in English? I forgot. Okay. Right? The atzamot vagidim, whether it's going to be the atzamot, the bones and the sinews, whether the kranaim, whether we're talking about the horns or the telafim or the hooves. If it's going to be that they're going to be attached, the second that they're going to be separated, they don't go up. Says the Gemara Tanu Rabbanan, the Gemara on the bottom pay Hamubet. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned on the right of Viktira Kohen to call Mizbecha, Lerabot Atzama Vikidim Karnam Telafim. So when it says that you're going to bring everything up, that's including whether it's going to be the bones, the sinews, and the horns and the hooves. I would have thought to say that even if they're going to be separated, which means that you separate the horns, or you separate the hooves, or you separate it. Everything when it's together. If it's going to be the basar v'dam, it's going to be brought. Pevav Amud Aleph on the top, 86A on the top. I would have thought that you have to take off the sinews and the bones. And you're only going to take up the basar to the mizbeach. You have to bring everything. How does that work? He says mechubarin ya'alu. If it's going to be mechubar, which means that they did not detach the horns, the hooves, and all the other things, so therefore ya'alu, they're going to bring it up. But pirshu, the second that they separated it, afilu em berosha mizbeach, even if it's going to be on the top of the mizbeach, yerdu, you bring them down. So man tana deshamalei de amar, who's the tana that comes and he says that you're going to be yerdu? Rabbi. It's Rabbi. The Tanya was learned on a right. Even if they were pirshu. So he says one second, that means according to this shita, even if they were separated, you still bring them up. Right? Which means that if it came up, it came up. What does that mean? You remember we brought down that what happens if you have ikule ola? An ola is completely consumed on the mizbeach. You came, you brought up the olah, you put it on the mizbeach, and all of a sudden, part of the bones or part of the meat or whatever it was jumped up and it fell off. So what do we say? That's called ikule olah. You have to bring them back up to the mizbeach to burn again. So that's called ikule olah. So he comes and he says it's coming to teach you that you have to bring back ikule olah to the mizbeach in order that it should get completely burnt. But if the gidin and atzamot popped out, they jumped out or whatever it is, and now they're on the floor, you don't bring them back. Rebbe says, כתוב אחד אומר, one pasuk says, והקטיר הכהן את כל המזבח, הריבה, וכתוב אחד אומר, ועשית לו תך בשר ודם, מיעוט. There's a ריבוי ומיעוט here. ריבוי is something which is always going to include certain things. And the mi'ut is always something which is going to exclude something. So what does that mean? Because when it says, והקטיר הכהן את הכל, that's everything. It's an inclusion. When you say, no, this, and that, that's an exclusion. So what do you, how ketzad? So he says, mechubarin, if it's going to be mechubar to the korban, ya'alu, you bring it up. Pershu, if it separates, even if it's going to be b'rosh mizbeach, yerdu. So it comes out that this is going according to Rabbi. Okay, until here we're clear? Very good. 2 dots. Says the Gemara, Pirshu, we're talking about right now that if it separates, it goes down. Lo shanu, what are we dealing with? Ela shepishu klape mata. Only if it's going to be that they separated downwards, right? Aval klape mala, but if they were towards the maracha, karivu de ikul. So therefore, you have to. It's even going to be closer to the fire of the mizbeach, and therefore you leave it on the mizbeach. So says the Gemara, vafilu pirshu. You're going to tell me that even if it was separated, it's going to go to the mizbeach. So Amar Rabba says, Hachi Kamar. This is what it means to say. Lo shanu ela shepirshu leachar zrika. That's only if it was going to be that they were separated after the zrikat adam. Aval pirshu, but if it's separated before the zrikat adam, atay zrika ve'sheretinu. So the zrika is going to come and permit it bana'ah. So afilu lemeva minayu kata desakina. So even if you want, you can make it into the handle of a knife. Right? The handle of a knife you could even make it from. You could do whatever you want with this. So Savala Kiyad Amar, so they hold like this, that it says, Rabbi Yochanan in the name of Ishmael, Nemar lo yeh beolah. It says, V'akohen makriv et olatish, or haolah asher ikriv lakohen lo yeh. Who gets the skins? You remember we spoke about this already. Who gets the skins of the olah? The Kohen. So the Kohen, even though the entire animal gets consumed on the Mizbeach, the Kohens get the skins. So now the Kohens, they can make fur coats and they can make all these different things, and then they sell it. They're able to do all these things. But the Kohen is the one that gets all these things. V'ne'emar lo yeh be'asham. So now one more time. We've got a Korban Olah. Korban Olah is a burnt offering. We have a Korban Asham. Asham is a guilt offering. Now it also says lo yeh by the Asham. So why do I need lo yeh b'shtei korbanot? Why do I need that it has to belong to the Kohen, whether it's talking about the Olah or the Asham? Ma Asham, just like the Asham atzmotav mutarin, the bones are permitted. So to the Olah, the atzamot are going to be permitted. So it comes out that the Kohanim are able to use the bones of an Olah. That means even though the Olah, the meat and everything is going to go on the Mizbeach to get burnt, completely consumed, but the bones are going to be permitted, and that's what we're learning why it says two different things. It says it. No. Before it gets burned, there's going to be permitted. So says the Gemara, mufne. You're obligated to say that both of the psukim are extra. Mufne means it's panui. Panui is otomenet shata lo mishtamesh b'ze b'shil davar acher. Why? De'ilo mufne be'ez. If you're going to tell me that it's not mufne, ikal mifrach. You have a question. Ma asham shekem besar mutar. What are you talking about? How do you compare them? The asham is mutar, the basar. One more time. It says lo yeh by the asham, and it says lo yeh by the olah. We're learning the olah from the asham, that just like the asham, you're allowed to benefit from the bones, so too you're allowed to benefit from the bones and the olah. Says the Gemara, they both have to be with open, without any learnings from there. Why? Because if not, I've got a question. What's the question? The question is very, very simple. Mala asham shekem basar mutar. The asham, the meat, is permitted. So how am I comparing the olah, which the meat is prohibited, to the asham, that the meat is permitted? So I can't learn from it. But if it's going to be that both of them are panui, the mufne, so then I can learn from it. So that's why he says it has to be mufne. So the Gemara says, lo yeh yetiraktiv. So says the Gemara, there's an extra lo yeh. And since there's an extra lo yeh, that's what's coming to teach us the dirasha. So he comes and he says, Mativ Ravada Barava, Atzamot Kodashim Lifnei Zrika Moalim Bahen. There's me'ilah if you benefit from the Atzamot of Kodshim. V'la'achar Zrika, there's no me'ilah. So v'shelola, Moalim Bahen, there's always a me'ilah. So says the Gemara, so you see from here, from this bright that's mashma, that even if it's separated, it's still asur. Why me'ilah? So says the Gemara, Eima shel olah pirshu lifnei azrika moalim bahen. La'achar zeh, you have to make a differentiation. When was it separated? Was it separated before the zrika or after the zrika? If it's going to be before the zrika, there's no milah. If it's going to be after the zrika, there's milah. Upliga de Rabbi Lazar, this argues Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Lazar pirshu lifnei azrika moalim bahen. La'achar zrika lo naniv lo moalim bahen. So therefore he says it argues on Rabbi Lazar, but Rabbi Lazar wanted to say that if it was before the zrika, there is a milah. And we just said if it was before the zrika, there's no milah. So the exact opposite. And he says after the zrika, there's no nenin velo moalim. Okay, Mishnah. Mishnah on Pevav Mudalef on the bottom. Says the Mishnah, Vekulan shepak'u me'al gabe mizbeach. All these things that we mentioned, if they jump out of the mizbeach, which means that it fell on the floor, because many times if you put something in a fire, it could just, like it just pops out. So he says, Lo yachzir, you don't bring it back. V'chen gachelet, the same halacha would apply to a coals, right? Shepaka me'al gabe mizbeach, lo yachzir, you don't bring it back. Evarim shepaku me'al gabe mizbeach, right? If it's going to be kodem chatzot, yachzir, bring it back to the fire, right? V'moalim bahen, and there's a problem of milah. La'achar chatzot, but after chatzot laila, lo yachzir, you don't put it back on the fire. The en moalim bahem, and there's no problem of me'ilah. Keshem shamizbeach mekadesh etaruilo, kacha kevesh mekadesh. Just like the mizbeach is mekadesh, something which is fitting for it, so too the kevesh is also going to be mekadesh. Keshem shamizbeach va'kevesh mekadeshin etaruilahen, kacha kelim mekadeshin. So it's not only just the kevesh and the mizbeach, it's also going to be the kelim as well. Says the Gemara on the bottom of Pevav Mudalef, 86a on the bottom. Hechi dami, what is the case of the Mishnah? Idid mamash. If you're talking about that there's mamashut in these averim, so afilu achar chatzot dami. So why don't you bring it back up if it's after chatzot? We made a differentiation between before chatzot and after chatzot. Why? If there's mamashut to this, so even after chatzot, bring it back up, right? V'delebe mamash. And if you're going to tell me that there's no mamashut, so even kodem chatzot namilo. So even before chatzot, why do you have to bring it on the fire again? Why? Gamarnu. So lotzricha, what are we dealing with? Pevav Amubet 86b bishrire. Maze bishrire, to do with evarim shenisrefu and they became hard. but they did not become pecham. Meaning, sometimes you put it on the fire, it starts becoming hardened, but it didn't become actually coals. So that's the case we're talking about. Menani Milah, we know these words. Amar Rav says, Katuv Echad Omer, one pasuk says, Kol halayla v'iktir. It's going to be there the entire night time and niktir. V'ktuv Echad Omer, Kol halayla v'herim. So what does that mean? Chalkehu, you have to divide the night. Chetzio laktara v'chetzio arama. Half of it is going to be that you have to bring it back to the fire, which is the first half until chatzot, and the chetzi hasheni shel halayla is harama. What is harama? That it's going to be that you're going to just pick it up and that's it. You don't have to bring it back to the fire. So therefore, basically, from the pasuk we learned to divide the night into לפני חצות ואחרי חצות. לפני חצות אתה מחזיר את הבשר ואת הכל בחזרה לאש. אחרי חצות אתה לא חייב. מה טיב רב כהנא? So Rav Kahana comes and he asks the following question. בכל יום תורם את הדשן על מזבח, right? מקרות הגבר או סמוך לו. Every single morning when they used to come and they used to be taking off the Trumat HaDeshen. Remember, the Trumat HaDeshen is the ashes, right, from the Mizbeach and everything. And they used to do it from already Krot HaGever. Remember, Krot HaGever is Anoter LaSechvi Bina Lavchin Ben Yom Uven Laila. He's called the Gever. What does that mean? The rooster. When he's going to come and start. So from that time, from the Krot HaGever, right, or Samuchlo, Milefanav Umeacharav, Yom Kippurim, Bechatzot, it's going to be in Chatzot HaLaila, and Beregalim already from Hashmonet HaRishonah, from the first Hashmonet in the nighttime. Ve'isa Chadanevi, you're going to tell me Mechatzot is Doraita. Hechi Makdamina Nech. I don't understand you. If you're going to tell me it's Doraita, how do you make it earlier or later? Bederech Klal Kol Boker Zenimatai Krota Gever, right? Which is going to be from the Alot HaShachar, or whatever it is, right? And all of a sudden now, there's a, right, he comes and he says, Aliyot HaShachar, and all of a sudden now he's coming and saying, if it's going to be on Kippur, Chatzot, Regalim, Hashmonet Rishonah. Now, if you're going to tell me it's Midoraita that you have to do it from this time, so therefore, how in the world are you going to do it earlier or later? So he says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, Mimashma sheneemar, from the mashma that it says, Kol halayla, Eni yodea ad haboker, I don't know if it's going to be until ad haboker. So matamul omar ad haboker, what does it mean now ad haboker? 10 boker levakro shelayla. You're going to give the boker to the bakro shelayla. Hilkach, and therefore, what does it mean? You have to give a boker to the layla. Hilkach, therefore, kol yoma, every single day, mikrot hagever is enough. He says, why? That's enough. You don't need it. He says, why? Because since they're not going to bring so many korbanot the next day, it's a regular day. So therefore, you could do it. There's no problem. On Yom Kippurim, the Kohen is going to be weak. So since it's weak, we didn't want him to start doing. So the earlier that he does the Tumat HaDeshen, the better that it is. Mechatzot is the regalim, right? Why? Right? Sorry, the Kohen Gadol was from Chatzot. But regalim, that there's going to be so many korbanot, they call me atu Yisrael, that they're going to come. So they bring it earlier from the Shemona Rishonah. Ketani Seifa, lo hayta kriyat hagever magat shayita azara meleah, right? In Israel, until the entire azara is going to be filled of